Thank you very much, dear devotees. I want to thank you always for all, being so welcoming, so loving, and so kind to me, and giving me this opportunity to read Srimad Bhagavatam with all of you this morning. So we are continuing this wonderful chapter 21 of the 10th canto. It's an incredibly intimate glimpse into the mood and the meditation of the highest devotees of the Lord. So we will be wrapping up this chapter with last 3 verses today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So chapter 21, verse number 18. Hanta yamadrirabala haridasa varyo yadrama krishna charana sparasha pramoda manam tanoti sahago ganayostayoryat Pani Yasuya Vasakandara Kandamulai. Translation: of all the devotees, this Govardhan hill is the best. Oh, my friends, this hill supplies Krishna and Balaram, along with their cows, and cowherd friends, with all kinds of necessities: water for drinking, very soft grass, caves, fruits, flowers, and vegetables. In this way, the hill offers respects to the Lord. Being touched by the lotus feet of Krishna and Balaram, Govardhan Hill appears very jubilant. Purport: this translation is quoted from Srila Prabhupada Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 1834. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains the opulence of Govardhan Hill as follows. Paniya refers to the fragrant cool water from the Govardhan waterfalls, which Krishna and Balaram drink and use to wash their feet and mouths. Govardhan also offers other beverages such as honey, mango juice, and pilu juice. Suyavasa indicates durva grass, used to make the religious offering of arghya. Govardhan also has grass that is fragrant, soft, and conducive to the strong growth of cows and increased production of milk. Thus, this grass is used for feeding the transcendental herds. Gandhara refers to the caves where Krishna and Balaram and their friends play, sit, and lie down. These caves give pleasure when the weather is too hot or too cold, or when it is raining. Govardhan also features soft roots for eating, jewels for ornamenting the body, flat places for sitting, and lamps and mirrors in the form of smooth stones, glistening water, and other natural substances. So we'll continue reading the next couple of verses. Gagopakairanu vanam nayatorudara Venu svanai kalapadai brutsya sakya Aspandanam gatimatam pulakastarunam Niryoga pasha krita lakshanayor vichitram. My dear friends, as Krishna and Balaram pass through the forest with their cowherd friends leading their cows, they carry ropes to bind the cows' rear legs at the time of milking. When Lord Krishna plays on his flute, the sweet music causes the moving, living entities to become stunned and the non-moving trees to tremble with ecstasy. These things are certainly very wonderful. Purport: Krishna and Balaram would sometimes wear their cowherding ropes on their heads and sometimes carry them on their shoulders, and thus they were beautifully decorated with all the equipment of cowherd boys. The Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that the ropes of Krishna and Balaram are made of yellow cloth and have clusters of pearls at both ends. Sometimes they wear these ropes around their turbans, and the ropes thus become wonderful decorations. And then the last one. Evam vidha bhagavato ya vrindavana charina varnayantyo mitho gopya kridastanmayatam yayu. Thus narrating to one another the playful pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as he wandered about in the Vrindavan forest. The gopis became fully absorbed in thoughts of him. Purport. In this regard, Srila Prabhupada comments, this is the perfect example of Krishna consciousness. To somehow or other remain always engrossed in thoughts of Krishna. The vivid example is always present in the behavior of the gopis. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya declared that no one can worship the Supreme Lord by any method that is better than the method of the gopis. The gopis were not born in very high Brahmana or Kshatriya families. They were born in the families of Vaishyas, and not in big mercantile communities, but in the families of cowherd men. They were not very well educated, although they heard all sorts of knowledge from the Brahmanas, the authorities of Vedic knowledge. The gopis' only purpose was to remain always absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. Thus end the purports of the humble servants of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, to the 10th canto, 21st chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled, The Gopis Glorify the Song of Krishna's Flute. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I offer my obeisances to the lotus feet of my spiritual master, who has opened my darkened eyes and filled my heart with transcendental knowledge. I also offer my obeisances to all of you assembled Vaishnavas and seek your kind blessings and permission that we may recite the Srimad Bhagavatam this morning. So thank you all once again for joining on this Sunday morning. It is Dwadashi, the day after Ekadashi. It's a day of celebration where, well, there's many reasons to celebrate today across multiple cultures and different religious traditions as well. One, it's the Sunday. It's always nice. It's the Dwadashi, the day we break our fasts and we can reflect on all the realizations we may have had yesterday in trying to absorb our minds in Krishna. And also, I believe it is Palm Sunday, or it's the Holy Week in the Catholic tradition. So it's very wonderful that, you know, the lovers of God all over the world are trying to absorb their minds toward the holy direction. It's very nice. Also heard the Pope just came out of the hospital. He's feeling a little better. It's nice to see too. So all kinds of good things today. Weather is becoming better also. As we absorb our minds in this Srimad Bhagavatam, we can try to imagine ourselves in the beautiful arena of Vrindavan Dham, and you see the Govardhan Hill. And in today's verse, we are, it's brought to our attention by the gopis that this Govardhan Hill is the greatest devotee, right? They say that Hantaya Madrir Abala Haridas Varyo. Haridas Varyo. Haridas means a servant of Hari, Krishna. And Varya means the highest. So they're recognizing that this Govardhan Hill is the highest or the best of the servants of Lord Krishna. And then they say why they think it's the best, because the mountain is so generous in giving Krishna whatever he needs for his pastimes: soft grass, sweet water, fruits and flowers and vegetables, and caves to play in, and take shelter. It's so nice. And the Lord reciprocates by touching his lotus feet to Govardhan Hill. And the hill then becomes jubilant. And that is the opening verse in today's section. So here we see the term Haridasvarya. And if you're familiar with the Nectar of Instruction written by our great Acharya, Srila Rupa Goswami. Nectar of Instruction is the essence of all instructions given to us, and it's a set of only 11 verses. But if we can understand those 11 verses, we can practice Krishna consciousness nicely. And in that section, or in that book, in the ninth verse, Rupa Goswami writes, he glorifies his Govardhan, because it's the place where the most sacred spot in the universe lies. So he sings, Vaikuntha janito vara madhupuri tatra pirat sotsavat vrindaranya mudara pani ramanat tatrapi govardhana radha kundamihapi gokulapate premamrita plavana kuryadasya virajato giritate sevam vivekinaka. The holy place known as Mathura is spiritually superior to Vaikuntha, the transcendental world, because the Lord appears there. And superior to Mathurapuri is the transcendental forest of Vrindavan, because of Krishna's Rasa Leela pastimes. And superior to the forest of Vrindavan is Govardhan Hill. Why? For it was raised by the divine hand of Sri Krishna and was the site of his various loving pastimes. And above all, the super excellent Sri Radha Kund stands supreme, for it is overflooded with ambrosial nectarian prem of the Lord of Gokula, Sri Krishna. Where then is that intelligent person who is unwilling to serve this divine Radhakund, which is situated at the foot of Govardhan Hill? So, the whole hierarchy is given. We have Vaikuntha, which is the spiritual world. And interestingly, in this hierarchy, Vaikuntha is at the bottom of the hierarchy given by Rupa Goswami. Saying first you get Vaikuntha, higher than that is Mathura, because the Lord appears there. And within that Mathura district, higher than that is the transcendental forest of Vrindavan, because the Lord performed his Rasa Leela there. And within that forest of Vrindavan, that whole Vrindavan section, Govardhan Hill is topmost, because it was personally lifted by the divine hand of Lord Sri Krishna. And higher than that, or within Govardhan, which is the most sacred spot, is Radha Kunda. Why? Because it contains the concentrated ambrosial nectarian love of God, the Lord of Gokula. And so we get to see in the proper perspective the position of Govardhan Hill. And here the gopis are just glorifying Govardhan like anything. Now, the name Haridas Varya is also given to another great devotee. His name is Yudhishthir Maharaj. Yudhishthir Maharaj in Bhagavatam is also referred to as Haridas Varya. He was a pure devotee, of course, very dear to Lord Krishna. Him and all his brothers, and all 5 brothers were very top-class devotees. Of course, Arjuna, a very intimate friend of Lord Krishna. Krishna spoke to Arjuna the Bhagavad Gita. But Yudhishthir Maharaj was certainly a very great devotee. And therefore, he earned the title Haridas Varya. He always tried to follow Dharma. He himself is the son of Dharmaraj. Himself is considered Dharmaraj. So Yudhishthira Maharaj, having been recognized as being such a great devotee, in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, written by Sanatana Goswami, we hear the story of Narada Muni. Narada Muni is trying to determine who is the greatest devotee, which devotee has received the most mercy of the Supreme Lord. And so he goes from person to person. He goes to Hanuman and Prahlad and so many different devotees. He comes to Yudhishthira Maharaj then. In the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Yudhishthira Maharaj is glorified by Narada. Look, you got so much mercy from the Lord. Whenever you guys were in trouble, the Lord was always there. Your own mother, Queen Kunti, when she just heard of the Lord, she just swooned with ecstasy and pure love of God. Your whole family is glorious, and you are the crest jewel among your family. And he just went on and on and on, glorifying Yudhishthira Maharaj. You are so wonderful. And then Yudhishthira Maharaj, then after a moment's embarrassed silence, he sighs. He goes, he's embarrassed. And in the company of his mother, his brothers, and his wives, he says, Vavadu kashiro dharya naiva smasu kripa harer vicharya bhikshanam asmabhir jatu kapyavadharyate. He says, O crest jewel of eloquent orators, O Narad Muni, Lord Krishna did not give his mercy to me and my brothers. He did not. It is wrong to say that he did. We thought about this for a long time, and we have concluded, we've decided that he never gave his mercy to us. And then he continues, he says, Prakritanam jananam hi madrigapad ganekshaya Krishna bhakto pravritischa vishvashascha hrishadiva. He says, by seeing all these many calamities that have fallen on me and my brothers, materialistic men who may be potential devotees will lose faith in Lord Krishna, and they will become less interested to engage in devotional service to him. In other words, what Yudhishthira Maharaj is saying is, there's nobody who's done more negative preaching than me. Think about it. My life has been such that everything I do, everything that has happened to me, and the way things turned out for me, there's no way I'm considered a good devotee. How am I a role model in any way? You tell me. When people will learn of what happened to me, after seeing what happened to my family, people will think, oh, how unfortunate. Calamity after calamity. They're attacked right from childhood. They're trying to get poisoned. They're trying to get burned to death, barely escape with their lives. They lost their whole kingdom. They lost their wealth. They lost their honor. Their wife was insulted in public, so on and so on and so on. It's nothing but tragedy after tragedy. And this is what happens if we become devotees of Krishna. Forget it. There's no way I'm going to be a devotee of whoever that guy is worshiping. I don't want to end up like him. So, Yudhishthira Maharaj recognizes Krishna did not give me any mercy. I'm not like a poster child for, ideal poster person for what happens when you become a devotee of Krishna. No way. Even those who are devotees will give up their Krishna consciousness if they hear about what happened to us. I am not the example. I do not deserve this title, Haridas Varya. Please, if you think I've received mercy from the Lord, my dear Narad Muni, you're mistaken. Please go ahead. Perhaps you can approach the family of Lord Krishna himself. So in this way, Narad Muni, he moves on and he goes on to meet the family of Lord Krishna. And then finally, after going through the hierarchy, he reaches Uddhava. Uddhava, the highest, greatest devotee of the Lord. So Narad goes to Uddhava and says, Oh, Uddhava, you are the most favorite devotee of Krishna. In fact, Krishna himself says, "O Uddhava, what to speak of other devotees like Brahma, Shiva, Shankarshan, or Lakshmi? You are more dear to me than my own life." This is what Krishna spoke. Narad continues, "You are such an intimate associate that Krishna values you more than his own life. You are the greatest devotee." And Uddhava said, "Yes, actually, I thought for a long time I am the greatest devotee." I really believed it. Not anymore. What do you mean, not anymore? Uddhava says, see, out of his causeless benevolence, Krishna might have said something like that, I'm his life and so on. But I don't think any longer that I am his devotee. Why? Because I visited Vrindavan. And especially after visiting Vrindavan, all my pride has been just melted and dissolved by seeing those devotees of Vrindavan. That spirit of service, the intensity of love towards Krishna that I found in the devotees of Vrindavan is unparalleled. Oh, Devarshi Narad, I am nowhere, I'm nothing. Do you know that statement of mine? I spoke it back in Srimad Bhagavatam. I said, Asam aho charanarenu jushamaham syam vrindavane kimapi gulma lato sadhinam yadushchajam swajanamarya patham chahitva bejur mukunda padavim shutibir vimigram. I said, the gopis of Vrindavan gave up their husbands, children, and families who are difficult to renounce. They sacrifice even their religious principles, to take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. Those same lotus feet that are sought after even by the Vedas personified themselves. Oh, grant me the fortune, the great fortune to take birth as a blade of grass in Vrindavan so that I may take the dust of the lotus feet of those great souls upon my head. That'll be my glory. That'll be my greatest fortune if I'm born as this little clump of grass. As they walk over me or walk near me and the dust gets raised and falls on me and I'll be ecstatic. That'll be the perfection of my existence. That's how great they are. I'm nothing. There in Srimad Bhagavatam, Uddhava says, I have disclosed my heart fully. The quality of love for Krishna that I found in the damsels of Vrindavan is so exalted that I could not but aspire to be born in Vrindavan as a piece of grass. So what are you saying, Devarshi Narad? If you want to see real devotion, real divine love, you should go to Vrindavan. Don't put people like me in an awkward position, embarrassing position, by saying that, oh, we have received the mercy of the Lord, or we are in possession of love of Godhead, or we have real devotion. Don't do that. We have no devotion. You're just making a mockery. What you're saying is a foundationless utterance. The real devotees of the Lord are not to be found here, they're found in Vrindavan. So in Bhagavatam, we understand how Sanatana Goswami is showing us the proper perspective and putting in perspective of a hierarchy of love, that yes, there is such a thing as intimate, more intimate, most intimate, and that is the highest. So what are we as followers of Srila Prabhupada, as readers of Srimad Bhagavatam? We have learned about Prahlad Maharaj, we've learned about Hanuman, we've learned about Yudhishthir Maharaj, we've learned about the Yadus, we've learned about Uddhava, we learned about the gopis now. Where do we stand? What are we supposed to do? How can we even enter into this circle of such exalted, pure devotees? Is it even appropriate that we even aspire to enter into this circle? Or to speak of the highest echelons of that hierarchy, even to enter the lowest, are we qualified? Isn't it a bunch of hubris on our part to think that we are? So we are asked by Srila Prabhupada to follow in his footsteps. And that's all we need to aspire for. We need to be the servant of the servant. We want to serve. And then, depending on how we serve, the Lord will decide if we are eligible to enter. We don't need to worry too much. Will I make it to this level or that level? We just need to serve humbly. Okay, fine. How am I supposed to serve? Because, if you want to serve, do I bring to my service my own understanding of what service means, of what it is to serve nicely or to please the person I'm serving? I recognize that for me to be happy, I need to be absorbed in spiritual life. And spiritual life means actually service to the devotees, service to God, service to Krishna, and so on. But in a practical sense, or even in a theoretical framework, what does that service look like? At least let me understand philosophically. How should I start? Where do I begin? What do I use as my guidebook? And so on. And of course, it's also good to know what the goal is. Because if you're going to some distance, at least you should know, okay, I'm heading to New York, or I'm headed to Chicago or Los Angeles. We should actually have something in mind. Okay, that's our goal. So service means absorption of the mind and doing something tangible, beneficial to please someone specifically. So who do we focus on? Who do we want to please? Who do we want to worship? Worship means you focus to please somebody. So the entire philosophy of Krishna consciousness, as opined by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is his opinion, mata. Mata means opinion. It's given to us in one verse. It's written by one of his followers, Prabodhanand Saraswati. And he writes this encapsulation of Krishna consciousness in one verse. He sings, Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajesh Tanaya Tadham Vrindavanam Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajavadu Vargenaya Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramana Mamalam Prema Pumartho Mahan Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Matamidam Tatradharana Para. He says, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Matam Idam. This is the divine opinion of Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mata. Beyond this opinion, there's nothing else. Tatradharana Para. There's nothing more. So what is this opinion? He says one thing, Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajesh Tanaya, the worshipable person, the person to be worshipped, the one person to focus our mind, our intelligence, our energy, our affection, our attention, is Bhagavan Vrajesh Tanaya. Bhagavan means God. Which God? Vrajesh Tanaya, the child of the king of Vraja. The king of Vraja is Nanda Maharaj. So Krishna does his pastimes many places. He does his pastimes Kurukshetra, he's fighting there, he speaks Gita, he goes to Dwarka, all kinds of pastimes. There's queens over there. But Vrajesha Tanaya, that form of the Lord that focuses on that his pastimes in Vrindavan as the son of Nanda Maharaj, that is the Bhagavan who we want to worship. Okay, fine. Aradhya Bhagavan Vrajesha Tanaya Tad Dhama Vrindavanam, his sacred Dhama, his abode is Vrindavan. Okay, so now I know who I'm going to focus on, Krishna, in his holy Dhama Vrindavan. So that frame, the context is there. How am I supposed to serve him? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Ramya Kachid Upasana Vrajavadhu. The Upasana, the way, the methodology of worship, the right mood, mindset, approach of worshiping Krishna is what? Is that as espoused by Vrajavadhu. Vrajavadhu refers to the gopis. See, that's Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's opinion. And Srila Prabhupada, actually, the servants of Srila Prabhupada, when they're writing this last purport, they highlight that Lord Chaitanya declared no one can worship the Lord by any method that is better than that of the gopis. See, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Gopi Bhartu Pada Kamalayo Das Das Anudas. That I am the servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of the gopis. So, Lord Shri Krishna himself comes as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to tell us that I am the servant of the gopis. See? Ramya Kach Dupasana Vrajvadhu Vargenaya Kalpita. Okay, fine. The gopis. How do I understand what the gopis' mood is? How to understand what the gopis did? So that verse says, Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam. Srimad Bhagavatam is the pramana, the method of understanding the truth. Amalam, spotless. If you want to understand how the gopis align their moods to Krishna, you read Srimad Bhagavatam. And that's what we're doing this morning. And that's what all of you have been doing throughout this whole chapter, is understanding the gopis' heart as they are singing about the flute song of Krishna, and the love pours out. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam, Pramanam Amalam. Fine. So I find myself, I'm a human being. I'm growing up in the world, and I see everybody. So yes, this is, okay, there's a question. Yes, CC verse. This is actually a very popular verse. Prabhupada's quoted many, many times. It starts Aradhya Bhagavan Vrajesha Tanaya. If you Google it, you'll find it immediately. It's by Prabodhanand Saraswati. So I find myself in this world, and I look around in society. People are running after a few things. Very evident. Religiosity, dharma, running after money, artha, running after sense gratification, kama, and perhaps when they've realized or frustrated in the world, they want some kind of relief from the miseries in the form of some impersonal liberation, that is moksha. These are four things that are recognized as pumartha, goals of humanity. People run after these four things. But all four things are selfish. They don't focus on Krishna. They have nothing to do with affection for the Lord. Therefore, in that same verse, prema pumartho mahan, that the greatest pumartha, the greatest goal of life, not those four things, but prema, the fifth purushartha, pumartha, that is the only one worth pursuing. Everything else is utterly irrelevant, superfluous, insignificant, inconsequential. Think about it. All the other four things, when this life is over, they're utterly inconsequential. The only thing that's worth pursuing is love. Love of Godhead. When you have love, you don't need anything else. Right? How many times do you have to hear? All you need is love. Love is all you need. right? That is true. That is what this verse is saying. You can say two different ways. All you need is love. Love is all you need. It's true. Actually, we're seeking that, but we're looking for it in the wrong place. So the real pumartha is prema pumartha mahan. See? So here, in this verse, he glorifies the love of the gopis as the highest. And it is the path for us all to follow, regardless of where we are at in our advancement of progress. Some people may say, oh yeah, Srila Prabhupada didn't give you the highest gopi prem. He just taught you basic stuff. You're not your body, go out and distribute books, chant Hare Krishna. That's not the highest. Let me tell you what's the highest. That's not true. Prabhupada has given us everything we need. He's given us all the details that we need. It's all in the Bhagavatam and in his Chaitanya Charitamrita and in his Krishna book. He's given us everything. Just have to dive into it. We have to dive deep. If you just dive and just stay in, if you just stay on the surface, you just collect fish. But if you want pearls, you got to dive to the bottom. That's where the pearls are. You got to dive deep. You see. So here in the Bhagavatam, we'll find that. Srila Prabhupada very famously said, those who go out and distribute books are in the mood of the gopis. He said that. Why? How is that the mood of the gopis? Because gopis' mood is, no. You serve Krishna before me. I'll push you in front of Krishna. Go and serve. So we go out and put other people. No, you serve. I will help you. I'll do whatever it takes to make sure you get aligned. You stand in the queue that you can get to see Krishna, get to serve Krishna directly. That's the mood of the gopis. We have to absorb that mood of generosity, the mood exemplified by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who followed in the footsteps of the gopis by going on street to street, disengaging from selfishness. He didn't, nothing selfish, nothing for sense gratification, just to glorify Krishna, to promote devotional service, to promote devotees. And he overlooked everything. He disregarded our birth. You're born in a Muslim family, I don't care. I'm going to name you Namacharya. So what, are you born in a Muslim family? You see, Namacharya Haridas Thakur. These things become irrelevant. You're a man, woman, black, white, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter where you're born. Prema Pumartha Mahan. This is the mood of the gopis. This is the mood of Srila Prabhupada. We don't need to look elsewhere. So here, what is this love of the gopis we're talking about? See, in Vrindavan Leela, especially in this chapter where the gopis out of intense separation from Krishna are expressing this most intense love, we see the power of their love bursting forth. Just like when we want to see the force, the strength of an elephant, we really see the strength of an elephant when it's bound in chains and it's practically straining the chains to breaking point, sometimes breaking the steel chains. Now, when the elephant is out in its natural wilds, roaming around freely, frolicking with its baby elephants, we don't see that force very easily. But when it's bound up by chains, then you see the force, explosive muscle power of the elephants. So similarly, in this Leela of Bhauma Vrindavan, when the gopis are held back by the chains of societal norms and the rules that, okay, you're married to this, you can't do that, and you're not supposed to do this. When they're held back, that's when the love bursts forth in the form of this beautiful poetry of the Venu Gita and the Gopi Gita. This is called Parakiya Bhava. Parakiya Bhava. So yes, this chaining is a symbolic thing. Don't take it literally. Not everything is as it is. Yes, don't try that at home. But this is just an analogy. It's called Parakiya Bhava, the highest form of intimate love of Godhead. The Krishna exhibits it when he comes here. So may Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his divine grace, His Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, may they bless us profusely on this day as we wrap up this chapter, that we become eligible to hear and understand this love and get a few drops of this mercy upon our heads. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much for listening once again. And we'll pause here if there's any other comments or questions. Hari Bol.
What a nice Krishna conscious class, Madan Gopal Prabhu. You're the greatest devotee on this call.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, dear devotees, it's your turn. Let's ask questions. Let's reflect. Adipurusha Prabhu is just smiling.
We can only reflect. I mean, such a glorious, exquisite class, bringing about, how the creation and all the elements and all the residents of Vrindavan are trying to please Krishna, and how strong their attraction is for Krishna, and how they're making so many arrangements for the pleasure of Krishna. And then the conclusion that, Krishna says, no one is more dear to me than one who carries this message to someone else. That is, Prabhupada left Vrindavan and came to the hellish place, and for Krishna's pleasure, on his guru's instruction, trying to give Krishna consciousness. We have to give it to get it. We want to get the mercy, get the mercy. Who has the greatest mercy? One who gives the mercy, gives other people access to devotional service to Krishna. How wonderful. Fantastic point, All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for that reflection.
Guru is here.
Hi,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Thank you. Okay, Prabhu is giving me mercy by forcing me to speak. I really appreciated the point how the love of Brajvasi is unparalleled, how the whole Brihad Bhagavatam, if you condensed it in a 20-minute class, how you brought the whole theme nicely. Thank you very much, Prabhu, for bringing out the whole narrative.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Madana Gopala Prabhu, how does the mood of the gopis correlate with the mood of giving Krishna consciousness to others? In other words, how are the gopis preachers of Krishna consciousness?
Yes, that's a very good point. And what Adi Purush Prabhu also brought forth is basically the same exact point. And Krishna also brings that point in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where he says, anyone who shares this message of Godhead to the devotees, he says specifically to devotees, right? No one is more dear to me than that person. And then he goes on to say, oh, if you think in the future I'll change my mind, no one in the future also shall ever be more dear to me. I'll never change my mind on this, ever. This is like my promise, forever and ever, He's a BFF, best friends forever. That's it. There's no possibility of them ever going to the second rank. They'll always be first rank. So what is that? The person who's always eager to give Krishna to others. Now, that is the mood of the gopis. How do they do it in the Bhagavatam? They do it by, see this recitation, just this chapter. They glorify other devotees. Just the verse we read today. That look at Govardhan, such a beautiful, wonderful devotee. So that's how we can also do. Look at this Prabhu, so wonderful, Look at Madana Gopala Prabhu. He looks like a mountain. No, I'm just kidding. And he has caves on his face. No, but glorify the devotees, but not flattery, but genuine appreciation. Because flattery means you're trying to accomplish something underhanded and then use it politically. You don't really feel the appreciation. We want to learn to recognize other devotees' greatness, because Krishna has made everyone, and Krishna made us the way we are. And when these souls engage in the service of the Lord, then it brings out the best in them and it becomes manifest. And when it becomes manifest, we can appreciate. When we appreciate the devotees of the Lord, then a lot of things happen. It pleases the Lord, it pleases the devotees, it pleases the entire body of devotees, it pleases your own heart. And then as a practical byproduct, you develop unity as a group. And when you develop unity as a group, you learn to understand each other better. And then you develop synergy as a team. And when you work as a team, it has a multiplicative factor, So instead of 5 people doing work individually, if they come together, it becomes like 50 people, the effect of it, even though there's still only 5 people. So similarly, it has practical byproducts that pleases the Lord. And when the gopis come in Rasa Leela, they're all dancing in great harmony. It becomes a beautiful picture. As the gopis demonstrate in Rasa Leela, they demonstrate by glorifying other devotees, they demonstrate by pushing other gopis forward, and so on. And this is what we are to learn. So many lessons. This is just 2 or 3 of them, but there's so many lessons to be learned by their words and by their actions.
Thank you, Madana Gopal Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Wonderful Shastric answer. Very satisfying answer. Thank you. It's a darshan time, dear devotees. Please turn your cameras on if you can.
Hare Bol. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Okay. This was it. welcome to the afterglow. If anyone would like to share anything at this point, please. If not, we'll wrap it up and let you practice what you just heard. Push other gopis forward, cooperate nicely. It's an interesting point, Manan Gopal Prabhu, that 5 devotees working together lovingly are more efficient than 50 devotees working together hating each other. Never thought about that. Thank you. Okay. William Prabhu, it was nice seeing you. Venetia, Bhima Prabhu, Amrita Kishori, Didi Yogeshwari, Pink Yogi, Bruce Prabhu, Domi. Yes, Venetia, Hare Krishna. Suzanne, Andrea, Susan, Rich Prabhu. Thank you very much for participating. Come again tomorrow. Thank you, Madan Gopal Prabhu. Great class as always. And nice kurta. Is that kurta or hoodie? What is that?
This is just a sweater. It's a little chilly.
Okay.
But thank you for your kindly inviting us to join your very advanced circle of devotees. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, we're a very advanced circle here. Very advanced. By your grace, we're advancing. Okay. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama.